The two cars that you see here are not entirely new. The XUV500, it's been around for a long time now, but has been recently updated. The Hexa is largely considered as a rehashed Aria. However, it has now been repositioned, given a new design and a new kit, which means that it locks horns with the XUV500 and rather strongly, which also means that consumers or prospective customers of this segment are going to be confused. So we decided to do a comparison. However, since we have already reviewed these two cars in detail, we are not doing a run-of-the-mill comparo. Instead, we have a few frequently asked questions about these two cars, which we are going to answer and hopefully help you make an informed buying decision. Agreed, off-roading isn't going to be the first criteria you look at with these two vehicles. However, since both of them are touting themselves as SUVs, let's get this aspect out of the way. The Tata Hexa gets a proper four-wheel drive system with a torque-on-demand type transfer case. The 4x4 mode can be activated using the simple mode selector on the center console. Tata has used learnings from its partners at Land Rover to fine-tune the system, and the result is obvious in the way this 2.5-tonner performs off the road with very little effort. The XUV500 on the other hand employs an all-wheel drive system which predominantly powers the front wheels to improve fuel economy and only sends power to the rear wheels when it detects slip or loss of traction. So while that works on providing a safe drive on the road, off the road it doesn't perform as well as the system in the Hexa. Moving on to the engines. Now both these cars use proven 2.2-litre motors, but which one of them is actually better? The Hexa's Varicore motor offers two states of tune. Though the engine is relatively smoother now compared to the motor that debuted on the Aria, it has a gravelly note that still shows its age. It is mated to a manual transmission which highlights the age further with its long and heavy throws, rubbery shifts and a heavy clutch. The XUV500 on the other hand has a more refined engine. This one has a gravelly note too, but the vibrations are significantly lesser than the Hexa, and the engine also revs quicker and cleaner. The shifts and the clutch are lighter too, so while it isn't as powerful as the Hexa, it certainly is the more refined mechanically. It also comes with the fuel-saving and greener micro-hybrid technology. The Hexa's engine not only delivers more power and torque than the XUV's motor, but it also delivers it at a lower engine speed. So what that translates into is a much easier and better pulling capacity, even if you are running a full house. So keep the engine in the meat of its power band and you never really feel that it's going out of breath, whether you're commuting in the city or driving out on the highway. The engine also comes with 4 driving modes, which basically alter the throttle maps to suit your urban or highway driving conditions. So despite the power and torque deficit, the XUV's motor feels a lot more eager, and it also reflects in our test figures. Be it 0 to 60, 0 to 100, even roll-on acceleration, it outclasses the Hexa. So that also means that pulling overtakes doesn't need a lot of planning, and even at highway speeds you can easily pull overtakes. The engine never feels out of breath, it's always eager to deliver power. So which is the safer car out of the two? Which one has more standard safety equipment? Take a look. The Hexa offers 3 trim levels while the XUV offers 4. For both these cars, driver and passenger airbags are offered as standard fitment, whereas side and curtain airbags are only available on the range-topping trims. Disc brakes on all wheels with anti-lock system or ABS is standard for both, while the top-end stuff also includes ESP, rollover mitigation, hill hold and hill descent control. So if you travel as a family often or are chauffeur driven, the top trims of either of these cars make more sense. Both these cars pack features like a touchscreen infotainment, satellite navigation, automatic headlamps and wipers, cruise control, parking camera, etc. The XUV500, however, outperforms the Hexa by offering extra kit and packing most of these features on a longer list of trims. The Hexa, on the other hand, offers most of the significant stuff only on its top spec trim, which is a downer. So if feature lists are what excite you, the XUV is your crossover out of these two. Both these cars top out around the 20 lakh rupee mark, but do they feel the price inside and outside? Let's take a look. Unlike most polarizing designs from Mahindra, the XUV's design has worked quite well in our market. Its cheetah inspiration gives it a sporty, pullback stance, while its overtly faired wheel arches make it look quite muscular. The facelift that it got a little while back has been received with mixed reactions, but overall, it works. The Hexa began life as a people carrier, but Tata has done an excellent job of giving it more muscle and in turn lending it a butch stance. The chunky grille, the smoked headlamps, wide air dams, chiseled lines and those massive 19-inch wheels, they all contribute to that effect. While design is a personal choice, the Hexa's design comes across as more modern and premium than the XUV. It is the same story on the inside too, where the Hexa's materials feel more upmarket. The XUV's cabin, though smart looking, feels plasticky in comparison. They're both tall and wide, so which one is the easier one to get in and out of? Starting off with the second row, it's the XUV that offers an easier ingress and egress thanks to the low floorboard. Getting into the third row is easier too, as the tumble mechanism is quite easy to operate. The Hexa needs you to climb into the cabin, which can get cumbersome for some. It is highlighted further when you want to access the third row. Add to it the heavy seats, and the experience isn't very pleasant. Both these cars claim to be very spacious, but which is the one that's actually comfortable for all 7 passengers? The seats in the XUV feel a bit more comfortable, while the bright colors used for the upholstery add an air of roominess to the cabin. The sunroof contributes to that effect too. The third row isn't very spacious though, so much so that it ends up seeming like an afterthought. The Hexa seats are comfortable, but not as well contoured as the XUV's. The floor-mounted console does rob a bit of legroom if you opt for a flat bench in the second row. The third row is relatively roomier than the XUV, meaning that this is the better people carrier out of the two. The Hexa also offers an excellent ride. Though slightly on the firmer side, thanks to its body-on-frame construction, it takes on our road conditions far better than the XUV. Show it some bends and it rewards you with surprisingly stable and predictive dynamics for a car of this size. It also has confidence-inspiring braking to match the rest of the dynamics. The XUV, though good at bump absorption, has quite a bouncy ride and a wallowy feel at speed. There is a fair bit of vertical movement too around bends, and braking seems sudden and grabby. So as far as highway and touring manners are concerned, the Hexa easily outclasses the XUV. Well, that takes care of the features and the creature comforts and everything that the vehicles have to offer. But how do they match up when it comes to pricing, after-sales service and resale value? The Hexa and the XUV are very closely matched when it comes to pricing. The XUV500 offers a longer choice of variants and trims though to fit different pocket sizes, which is a positive. Both these brands are competitively priced even on their service and spares. Looking at the current market scenario though, we expect the XUV500 to command a slightly better resale value, and the Certified Pre-Owned Cars program from Mahindra gives it extra points too. Both offer the same warranty, 3 years or 1 lakh kilometers, which sort of takes care of most of the concerns we have with the longevity of these two brands. Picking out a clear winner between these two is a little difficult. The Hexa, it impresses with its kit, its handling, whereas the XUV trumps it with refinement and ease of use. But if I were to sum it up in a very simple way, it would be this. If you're looking for a car that is going to be an everyday runabout in the urban environment, the XUV makes more sense. But if highway runs, frequent trips to farmhouses or rural areas, or adventure touring is your kind of thing, then the Hexa makes more sense.